Hi everyone, welcome back to Adobe Live on Behance. I'm Sharif Asaf and I'll be your host today. And here with me my guest Gayatri
Hi
Gaekwad,
everyone.
who is an experienced designer on Adobe XD. Thanks for sticking around after Anna and Ellie's great career building session. Great job, guys. Many insightful nuggets over there and inspiration stories around how to build your career through social media and grow your portfolio. But now it's Gayatri's turn to walk us through her thought process around how to design for multiple screens. For everyone tuning in, let us know where you're coming from. What do you do? Shout out for Anna, Aurora.
Hi everybody.
Hi everyone. Okay, so like usual, we have today our daily challenges. We have our Adobe XD daily challenge, and we're gonna also have our chat and win in 30 minutes. We will be giving away 100 free 3x3 die cut stickers from Sticker Mule.
Hey, that's MailChimp sticker. I
Yeah.
used to intern there.
Oh, you really used
Yeah.
to intern there?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So if you're new to Adobe Live, we're here. We're here every week from Monday to Thursday on Behance. And yeah. So who else? We have Riaz from India. Hey guys from Kansas, Cape Town. Awesome. All right. So let's have a quick look around the challenge that we have today. And thanks Melody for running the challenge. So the prompt for the challenge is: research shows that users add items to the cart but do not complete the purchase process because there are too many steps and the cart is hard to edit. Please simplify the process, get the starter file that Melody has put together. Great job, Melody, on that.
Yeah, we were watching her offline. She was really quick.
Yeah, it's just so snap and quick. Yeah, that was awesome. And so get your creative juices flowing. Gayatri and I would love to start reviewing that process probably in an hour and a half from now. So we're gonna fill you more on that later. And we're gonna have one lucky winner for our submission today for the chat and win, and that's gonna be in 25 minutes, so stay tuned. All right, so Gayatri, why don't you start telling us about yourself,
Sure.
how you came here to Adobe, and what you're doing?
Sure. All right, I prepared for this. Most of the other times I'm like on a 30-minute live with Talon and he leads the way, so I'm prepared for this. Also, I'm trying to drop some hints with the artwork on my slides about what we're going to be working on. So people those who don't know me, my name's Gayatri. I'm an experienced designer at Adobe. If you want to check out some of my work, it's on Behance. So a little bit about me. Oh, so a little bit about what we're going to do today first. Of course, I'm going to tell you what I do, where I'm from. We're gonna give Sharif a chance to talk about himself as well. We're gonna go take a quick brief look into what the project we're gonna do is today and define the user problem around it. A little bit of dive into how some of the sketching that I did for it is and what is the research that I've done. And of course, we'll spend more time doing a little bit of wireframing and seeing how we can use different tools like responsive resize, some of the setting up of the artboard that we can do to design for different screens. And if we have some time, we'll start defining a design system. The goal here is not to show you completely final versions of designs because of course they're beautiful, but there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes on to making designs, and a lot of the times at interviews or whatever kind of work you're doing, people want to know how you arrived at something. So we're going to try to cover a little bit of that.
Absolutely. So we're going to put more emphasis on the thought process, how Gayatri thinks through those different phases of design and how she ends up with the designs that you're going to see over the next few days.
Yeah, and Sharif and I also actually, people who don't know, work together as a team. One of the things that we worked on recently was linked assets. This is the first time we worked together, so we'll also talk to you a little bit about how we work behind the scenes a little bit when we're designing features for XD. So feel free to ask us any questions you have.
Yeah.
So I decided to use this screen again. This was actually like a career, a little bit about me screen that I actually used at my Adobe XD interview. So as you can see, I have undergraduate degree in graphic design. I worked at a couple of places. After that, after which I decided to go to Georgia Tech for my master's. And like I said, I interned at MailChimp, but now I work at Adobe XD as an experience designer. And I never really thought that I was going to be a designer who's going to design for other designers. It kind of just happened, and I'm really excited to kind of see where this journey takes me, because I feel like I'm learning a lot being a part of the team. So that's a little bit about my career.
And actually something that
Yeah.
Gayatri didn't highlight is how she joined Adobe. I think it's a fascinating story.
Yeah.
Maybe you could touch on it a bit
Yeah.
later if you want.
Sure.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a good plug for it too. If any city you're in, and if you want to kind of participate with XD, I know we have a lot of creative online challenges, but Creative Jam, if you put that in Adobe XD Creative Jam, it's XD-centric design challenge that happens in different cities, and that's where I participated in Atlanta. And I went and started talking to one of the product managers, and I said I was looking for a job, and I obviously was very bold and talked about what are the things that I would change in XD would be. And that's how we kind of started the conversation. So yeah, I talked to him about my process, which I'm going to share with you a little bit here, but this is actually full circle because these are some of the slides that I used on my on-site interview.
Oh,
so I
that's
guess
awesome.
like for a little bit of a pro tip for other people, like even in the way you talk about yourself and present yourself, do it intentionally. So I made kind of like an infograph, but I kind of tried to make it a little quirky, using a few emojis. So that's a little bit of my career. So I was born in India. I'm from New Delhi. So I see a few people tuned in from India too.
Yeah.
Riaz, Snehal, hi.
Hi guys.
It's kind of late for y'all, but thank you for tuning in. After I graduated and I worked for a little while, I actually really enjoyed doing a backpacking trip for like about 1.5 months, 2 months across Europe. I know, very typical, but it was one of those bucket list things. I put a dog in here because that was one of the last significant things I really felt connected to, and I did. I helped foster a dog when I was home in India for a little while, so that was really fun. And then I put in a little firework here, and I don't know where I was really going for, but I wanted to say that like one of the fun things that I did recently was I went to a music festival out in Vegas. It's called Electric Daisy Carnival, so if there are any EDM fans here, give us a shout out.
Shout out for EDMs.
I know you're a fan too, right?
Yeah, I love EDM music,
Yeah.
but I haven't been to a festival recently. You should take me next time.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the last fun things I did. But so that's enough about me, Sharif. Why don't we hear a little bit about you?
Mine, it's pretty simple. I actually joined Adobe about 3 years ago, and So here's a little fun thing about me. In my spare time, I really love photography and pretty much focused on light and water flows and things that move, like stopping time and just seeing how things transition. So this is really my kind of go-to hobby whenever I'm outside work. I love traveling and hiking. I love adventures too. So this was my highlight last year. It's like hiking Yosemite, the Half Dome. It's pretty scary when you're on the steep over there.
How long does it take?
It took around, I think, 8 hours or 10 hours actually back and forth. And it's pretty steep up there, but once you're up, I mean, the views are spectacular. Yosemite is definitely one of my favorite national parks. This was actually me, I can't remember what was that called. It's not paragliding, it's something like with a motor. And that was on top of the Zambezi River in Victoria Falls in Zambia. And this was in New Zealand, trekking on some glaciers in the southern island. So that was pretty cool. And we actually got stuck. So funny story here, we got stuck in the ice because the clouds were super heavy. So the helicopters couldn't come, and we were so they took us to the rescue camp, and we had to start like
You're
fires.
Laughing about it now, but
yeah,
I'm sure it wasn't funny.
Everyone is like, oh, like you could see their faces. No, none of them is happy. And I was like, all right, we might smile as well.
So this is really cool too. So I mean, did you tell them that you're a product manager?
Yeah. So I was gonna come to that
Okay.
now. So professionally wise, I undergraduated with a computer science degree, and then I joined Logica, which was one of the leading software vendors in Europe, and I was working there as a software engineer, then business analyst. Then from there, I moved to Microsoft. And I was actually focused on Africa and Middle East and worked in multiple disciplines from solution consulting to business development. And after that, I moved to the US, pursued my master's degrees, and then joined Adobe. And within Adobe in the last 3 years, I had multiple roles. One is started in strategy, then joined the customer experience team, which actually was a fascinating experience, which actually prompted me to move into my current job, which is a product manager on Adobe XD. So if you have any feature request on Adobe XD, you could actually put it on the chat. We could talk about it. We could have fun. We could tell you go to uservoice.com and upvote your favorite features or the things that you want us to start working on. And you have Gayatri. She could also design those features for you. So yeah, so that's it.
All right. So should we get into what we're going to be working on today?
Yeah.
All right. So we were asked to figure out a project that we'd all like to work with, that I would be working on. And upon spending a little bit of time thinking about it, I have thought about making this app because I want to use this app. So long story short, I decided to make an app that helps me remember what are the plants that I have in my house are. And because I have about 15 plants and all of them have different needs. Some need to be watered every day, some need to be watered once a week, and some never. And it's a lot to remember because you can kill plants by watering them too much or not watering them at all is obvious. So I was kind of trying to think of some of the problem statements, and of course it was very easy because I am the core user, would be the core user of this project. So one of the things I wanted to know was through this app is when did I last water my plants? Diagnose what's wrong, because a lot of the times I spend time first explaining to Google what my plant looks like because I don't remember its name. Then once I figure out the name, then I write down yellow leaves, what is wrong with my plant. And then sometimes I also need to understand how I can better take care of my plants. Because as you can see, when I first bought this cactus, it had all these flowers, but now I think I've given it too much love and watered it too much, which is pretty much, it's made it dormant.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys are, I'm a new plant aficionado.
Yeah, same here. I think I would have the same issue, and I need a better way to manage my plants. I'm actually don't go and buy plants because I'm afraid I couldn't be able to take care of them.
Yeah, I'm trying to do this also because we live in this city, and like I just want something that brings me a little bit closer to nature and makes me forget that I'm not like trapped in like a concrete jungle.
It brings a lot of like just great fresh energy to your place, to your environment, to your space.
For sure.
Yeah.
So those are I think the main problem statements that I want to address with this app that we're going to be designing together. So one of the first things that I did was think of some of the sketches, and I tried to put together an aesthetic picture last night when I was thinking about some of the wireframes. And this is a very common process, and don't worry about your sketches being perfect. As long as they make sense to you and help you figure out your flow, it's good enough. Sharif and I, when we're working together, we have whiteboards all over our office, and a lot of the times we apologize to each other for the sketches, but as long as it facilitates the conversation and helps you think, make those sketches. Don't be afraid about making imperfect, like my rectangles, and nobody can understand the chicken scratch that is on my.
Exactly, and we actually, I'm glad you brought this topic on, because we never start designing right in XD immediately. We start thinking and brainstorming about our ideas, our problems, and whiteboarding them. And once we have kind of a solid direction of where we want to head, and through 2 or 3 different options that we want to explore, I think, Gayatri, at this point, you start taking those into XD.
And of course, one of the things that's not mentioned here is these ideas don't just come into our head naturally. We, of course, go out and do a little bit of competitive research. We Google things. We look at things on Pinterest, Dribbble, just to give ourselves an idea of how other things function. And you would be surprised, even though I spend most of my time in XD, there are still sometimes people mention a feature and I have to go reproduce that same instance to understand what they're talking about. So make sketches, play around with the other apps that you have. Try to even copy some of the workflows, because it'll help trigger your thinking. So all to say, I did some of the competitive research out there too, but in my research, I found that there was definitely a gap in being able to find an app that helps you monitor the progress of your plants. There are plants that help you buy plants there are apps that help you shop online or figure out charts to when to water, but it never specifically is catered to your own plants that you have. All right, so that was a little bit of a brief encapsulation of how we started, how I thought of some of these design problems, how I did some sketches. Now I think, can start doing some wireframing.
Why don't you start showing us?
All right.
So the people on the chat out there, have you guys used XD before? Do you have any experience playing with it?
City and plants make it a home. That's right. All right, so I'm gonna be really brave and start with an empty XD document. And when you hit A, it triggers the different kinds of artboards that you can get started with. I think I'm gonna start designing for the iPhone X, and that's really nice. It kind of throws in the screen right there for me.
The default template with the different dimensions.
Yeah. Right. So I had thought about some of my sketches. I have them here in front of me. I'm gonna start laying out some things. And just to start thinking spatially, I'm gonna start with the square tool and start placing some of the gray boxes, essentially what we call wireframing in the industry. So I think, actually, even before I get started with this, I should write out what my flow is going to be. So I think one of the first things I want to be able to do is have a start screen, essentially add my plant.
So we have Riaz, who started, he's brand new to XD, so those are going to be very beneficial for him. Claudia, she uses it every day. It's pretty awesome.
Adding screen. This is just a checklist
Nicholas
that I'm
saying
making for
is
myself.
having the same plant problems here. So maybe Nicholas, you could also suggest some features for Gayatri.
Yeah. So these, I'm just making a mental note of things for myself, of the screens that I'm going to make.
One thing I like in here that can be easy for repetitive things is you could do the repeat grid.
There you go. If you're making a list, you can easily make some of these changes. Yeah. You can make this list as long as possible. Mine is not going to be very long. I'm just trying to, and of course, you can go and make custom edits in there. I don't know if this is making sense to any of y'all, but this is just a checklist for myself where I'm like, I usually do this even with the projects that we're working on. I try to kind of create like an index of the screens that I'm going to be working with. One of the nice things about Repeat Grid is that even if you've made some extra, you can always go back and make them lesser. That sometimes I feel like you kind of made a commitment to like having this list that you've created and feel like you have to fill it up. You don't have to with Repeat Grid. You can customize it as much as you want. So So I'm gonna start with the start screen. I'm gonna rename it over here.
We're saying here, yeah, Aurora, time ago you tried it and we didn't have the input field. Yes, this is something we definitely are exploring to add in the future. What else do we have over here? Do you guys rely on plugins a lot? Any must-have plugins?
Yeah, we do. I'm glad you asked that. Maybe we can find a plugin. So this is a plugin called IconDrop. I got it from...
So how do you get plugins in XD?
All right, let me start from the very beginning. Plugins, so there's a plugins tab right here.
Yeah.
If you go into Discover Plugins, you can type in the name of the plugin or like guess or browse through them. I knew I wanted a plugin for icons, so I wrote icons in there. And
you installed it already,
yeah,
I think
and
so.
the ones that
Yeah,
I want,
that's
I've
cool.
already installed. This is also where you can go to uninstall some of these things. All right, so I think I want to get a plus sign so that I can show that I want to show a section where people can add images. So since we got that question, I want to quickly help you answer it. So maybe a plus sign. Let's see what we get. Okay,
Ah,
not
nice. That's pretty cool. That's a lot
Alright.
of options over there.
bad. Yeah, so insert, let's see what happens. Oh, I think it adds it to your group of things that you've downloaded.
So what screen are you designing now, Gayatri?
This is a screen where if you come into the app, you've not added any plants yet,
Got it.
and you want to add in some of the plants that you're probably going to
Okay,
be
cool.
working on. I think I'm going to be working a lot with this gray today, so I'm going to go ahead and add it to my color swatches on the right, and I might reuse this little component, plus sign component. So I'm gonna go ahead and add it over here. And this is something that you learn over time. Don't feel pressure to add in colors and components. I sometimes do it, I sometimes don't. I'm designing a little bit slower now and I'm trying to give you hints, but you can do this at any process of your design.
So what is
work.
the benefit of adding like colors, character styles, and components?
So one of the nice things is that I could not be in this screen, right? I could be so far away somewhere
Yeah.
else. What I can do is like easily throw this in here and use it. One of the other nice things is that because we have a really cool component and instance model, which we'll explore a more mature version of later, but just for those who haven't messed around with this at all, you can make slight overrides onto some of the instances. And the cool bit is that if I could have like a press state or something like that, one of the cool things is that I can go back and still edit the master component. And what if I decided that I want to add more decoration, say, on this? I maybe want to add like a circle behind it, not in front of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna holding the shift key down.
Bernardin, you're saying plugins should have rating and review. Stay tuned. Do you have insights into our roadmap? It seems you do. So watch out in the next few months. We're gonna have some changes in the plugins space.
Oh, I should save this. We should name our app. What should we call it? Plant.
Savior?
Plant.
No.
I call myself
What
a
do you
plant
guys
parent.
What do you guys think? What should we call the app?
Plant TBD. Why don't you guys help us name our app?
Yeah.
All right, so I made some changes to the master as you saw, and I swear I had pasted it somewhere.
So that's the master, the one.
Yeah. And all the changes have been saved to the component.
Yeah.
And anytime I go in and make changes and make overrides into this, I can go back to the master, which is over here, or I can generate the master and it'll take me to it. I can make changes to it, like color. I don't want a border. Maybe I just want a white background. you will see how the changes have propagated to the instance.
Oh, that's great. So
as well.
you do it in one place in the master component, and it
Right.
propagates to all other instances. So
Yeah.
instead of you repeating that same action over and over again.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's a smart way of like saving yourself some time and making kind of like some of the components that you might use later on, adding them as you're going forward.
Got it.
Like I said, don't be intimidated by this. Sometimes these things just take time.
I like that. Michelle is suggesting plant nanny.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Okay.
Plant love, plant plus.
care.
There's a lot of options here.
Plant love.
Thanks, guys. Great
I like
ideas.
plant nanny so far
Yeah.
the most. We'll take a few more.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I want to start adding in some of the details that someone might add into something like this, which is maybe a name field. I want to set up what the size of this might. I think in a mobile phone, the type size, I think 20 is right, actually.
Yeah, 20 sounds about right.
I don't have to commit to typeface right now. Maybe I'll just leave it Helvetica because right now I'm just trying to figure out what the flows might be. This is a good, again, so if there's a name, there's also going to be an empty field right next to it or right below it to enter the field as you would in a mobile app. I'm gonna go ahead and group these two, and I'm gonna have a couple of fields over here which are gonna look the same. So I'm gonna use the repeat word magic that we talked about a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm gonna ask them to name your plant. Yeah, does anybody
Do you
do
name
that?
your
Do you
plants?
No, I don't.
Okay,
But
so do you
maybe
that's a good idea.
Maybe I mean it can be an optional thing.
Okay.
And then you can have a scientific name, because in doing research for this I found that people had named their plants. There's someone had named like one of those drooping plants called the big droop or the big drip or something like that. So I think it's
Imagine
funny.
people would do that.
Cute.
Yeah.
And of course, like have the scientific name. What else can we add? Maybe you can even add the location of it. And by location, I mean location in your home, because I have 15 plants, and some of these plants I have two of. So I
Yeah.
have one in like my kitchen and one in my living room.
And they would have different conditions actually according to where they live in.
Yeah.
Sunlight, direct sunlight.
Right. So location. And maybe there's something called a start date for like when you added it, or it should be like a default. It probably should just show up. Or maybe you don't need start date. What do you think? Oh, there.
All right. So it's time for one lucky chatter today to win our Chat and Win prize. So why don't you guys just, in the next minute, talk to us about some of your favorite projects that you've worked on and why not. But before that, we're gonna go off for a minute to watch. And we're back. Hey guys, yeah, for our Chat and Win, you have 1 minute. Please enter all the exciting projects that you've worked on and what did you like about them. 1 minute to go. One lucky winner. Who's that gonna be?
Who's picking? How do we pick this person?
It's random, so we have our random bot choosing one random chatter.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right, and we have it. Congrats, Mikhail, for winning our 100 free 3x3 die cut stickers from Sticker Mule. That's awesome. I think we're gonna reach out to you on Behance to give you more details on how to redeem that the prize. But for the unlucky ones, you're still gonna win with us, because we have a great deal for you. You could still get 10 stickers for $1 from Sticker Mule. Just go to stickermule.com/Adobe Live 19. All right, let's see. What are some of the apps that were mentioned here? Stay hotel booking app, recipe collection app. I love that. I love food. I think Gayatri and I are foodies.
Yeah.
So.
Also, Sharif is a very good cook. He cooks very good desserts.
Not really very good.
Yeah.
I mean,
he made us a kanafa recently for a meeting. So those are also perks of working at Adobe.
All right. We have the balloon app. Oh, I'm curious, Mikhail. What is the balloon app? What was that?
Is it like to blow up balloons, like pop them? It's like a stress buster.
Imagine. Or
Yeah.
maybe it's like an augmented reality. You start booming and then you start
Shower
running
people
behind
with
the balloons.
like a
and
filter.
You have kids running behind them. And
Could be. So I've heard this question mentioned twice, and we should clear it up. Is XD available for iPad?
no, XD is currently not available on iPad. If you want it to be available on iPad, please go to uservoice.com, upvote it, and we're definitely looking at what are the top features that are being asked, and we're prioritizing that in our roadmap.
Yeah, and one of the nice things is that they give you some room to write down about why you would want Adobe on the XD. So tell us your use case. Tell us why you would want it to
Yes,
be
absolutely.
on the iPad, so we can make a decision about what is the use case over there and prioritize those features.
Yes.
Maybe somehow for you. Where can I find UI
design project ideas for my portfolio.
Right here on Behance.
On Behance.
Yeah.
Behance is like a full network of creative professionals coming together, just posting all their ideas and portfolio projects. They would chat with you, they would give you ideas, they would critique your work. So it's a great place to be. Also, AdobeLive.com, you'll listen to 2 hours sessions every day from different leaders from different creative industries. We'll also be happy to critique the work that you're working on and give you feedback so that we could help you build your portfolios. All right, what other apps we have here? Trail and hiking app. Oh my God, that's my favorite weekend activity for sure. We were talking about that, right, Gayatri? We were talking about before deciding.
Yeah, I vetoed that part.
Yeah, she was like saying, it's like, why don't we could do that, a trail and hiking app. Yeah, that's really helpful.
All right, so while we're catching up with some of your questions, let me tell you what I'm up to. I'm just adding one of the other kind of like where you would get notifications.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine it's something being like a watering schedule. Some, like I said, some need watering every day, some every 7 days. So you can enter the number. And I used the repeat grid to write multiple times, but I think some of you can guess what I'm trying to do over here is to select some days where you want to schedule. I'm trying to provide as many options as someone might want to. So see, as you can see, Sunday is going out of my screen a little bit. So I can adjust the space over here. Can also adjust this over here and adjust the spacing. Yeah. And there we go. That's the really cool feature about repeat grid. I wish I could explain to you the science behind it, but it's basically just magic.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's XD magic.
That is repeat grid magic. Yeah, one of the most celebrated feature in XD.
Right.
All right, so guys, just for you who are just tuning in, don't forget we have our XD Creative Challenge going on. To learn more about it, click on the Challenge tab on Behance. And our challenge today is research shows that users add items to their cart, but do not complete the purchase process because there are too many steps. And the cart is hard to edit. Simplify that process. And Melody has put a starter file together for you to get you started. We're gonna be reviewing your submissions in 54 minutes, so get going. It's gonna be really exciting.
Yeah, we'd be happy to give you some good feedback. And if they submit it once today, can they not submit it tomorrow?
No, they could submit tomorrow.
Yeah, all right. So we'll be here today too. So if you want to we can give you some work in progress feedback.
Yes. And we'll be tuning in tomorrow at the same time. We have the same schedule going on tomorrow.
And we'll be back. So today we'll be focusing, if you have just tuned in, We're focusing on designing for any screen. We've just started wireframing. A couple of awesome people were before us.
Yes, so we have Voodoo with our daily creative challenge. Then before that, there was the awesome session around career building with Photoshop and social media with Anna and Ellie. And the creative challenge for XD that Melody has run with you guys. And now Gayatri is walking us through designing for any screen.
Yeah. All right, so I'm just like beginning to think of the next screen that might be over here after like the main screen, which might be the home screen. The reason why I'm making a couple of squares up top here, I was thinking of showing a screen over here, which, and of course, all I did was select my screen and do Command D.
Command D for duplicating
which will duplicate your screen. I already did that. I took some of the squares and I started resizing them. And I'm setting up this section over here for your, I'm gonna go ahead and use some more sections that already exist. Also, if you want it, I do this all the time. I'll take a section and be like, I don't really need it for it to be a repeat grid. And you can remove it from being a repeat grid. Well, that wasn't the most elegant way of doing it, but maybe I'll do it from here. Designing on the fly, guys. Yeah. But what I want to show over here is kind of today's or like need watering today.
Is that going to be like a header for every screen that you're going to use and you might add it as a character style? Or
yeah, that's a good question. Actually, that may be a decision that I should make now because I don't think that I want to use this as a header. I want to use this. Well, this specifically is not really a header. It's
those are like
more of like a sections
or text body.
Yeah, like prompts. But maybe this is more of a header. So this is a body font for sure. I can go in and rename it and call it body text. And this I want to be more of a like a header. Okay, and maybe it's too big. Maybe we go 30.
Yep. It's good to me.
So something like that at the beginning, which like lets me know, hey, there's gonna be some stuff that needs watering today. This is a plus sign that I thought can kind of like live somewhere over here where if you buy some new plants, it prompts you to add them back in. And then I want to have another section which has the plants that I've already added in, and I'd ideally like to use this as a section to explain those plants, just as an index for these plants. And I'm gonna see if I can...
I'm seeing some auto-animate in the works in the future.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm setting the file up so that it remembers where it essentially came from. And there you have it.
Are those like cards for each plant?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And so over here, I take all of these and I'm, essentially like resizing them.
A responsive resize? No, just to save a responsive resize.
Okay. So if this was a broader screen, it would be like that. But if it's a mobile screen, it would be like that. So I have them set up over here, and maybe they're gonna have some headers on top of them, which is gonna be the name of the actual plant, which is over here. So maybe I'll just call it plant 1 for now, just for now. And it's gonna have the header of the plant, and the gray boxes are of course the pictures that I upload of it. Group this. And ungroup these. All right, so these are each of my sections that I've created. What I want to go ahead and is group these these cards individually. So I hit command.
Are those components? Like, would you reuse them?
That's a good question. Actually, I could. Why don't I just do that? I can make these. So as soon as you're ready, I've kind of have an idea of what this component might look like. And guys, this is totally fine. Like you can kind of see a layout of something and then you make a decision of, okay, I think this is a component that I want to reuse. And this is what we do normally too. Like we might have 4 things that we've already made, which we're kind of like, okay, I think I want to commit to it looking something like that. You go ahead and you can do it plus components from here, or you can hit Command K, make your selection and hit Command K. As long as it's grouped, it'll create a component in your assets panel. That's one of the features that I would really like. Is there a way for me to connect my component back to an existing component?
This is on our roadmap, Gayatri.
All right, awesome. So yeah, we're like I don't know if all of you know, when we're designing XD, we're also use XD.
Yes.
While making it. So some of the feature requests that you guys have might be some feature requests that we have too. And of course, we have to prioritize and figure out what features features that we'd like to build. I'm seeing a question asking me, where can I find your work, Gayatri?
Voodoo.
On Behance. Oh, thanks,
Voodoo has responded. Thank you, Voodoo.
Shoot me with any
There's another question. Is it necessary to code the web UI designs from my portfolio? Because most of the companies I apply for ask for a live version. Have you had?
Code your designs. I think, do you mean just prototypes? Because you can get away with prototyping most of your experiences. So
have you actually built, coded your actual
I have,
portfolio
but
websites?
I will tell you this: as a designer, when you're designing the experience and you are making coding the thing, it can kind of interfere with your design process because you can start reverse engineering your design to make it simpler so that your code is simpler. So I think it's good for both of those things. Like a front-end UI designer, UX designer, I understand, but like sometimes it's better that you, of course, validate your experience with your engineer, because your engineer is the person who can give you the best idea of what can and cannot be made, but also try to push the envelope on designing the experience. So I have done some coding for my projects, but in my experience of doing that, I have realized that I start reverse engineering my work.
In my experience, I feel it's beneficial to have both sides, so that when you're actually working with engineers, you understand the constraints that they're working with.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I will say that this is all not to say that you shouldn't delve into engineering. I think what it definitely did for me when I was building some of my HTML and CSS and PHP kind of stuff, I had more of an appreciation for the amount of work that goes in to building these things and thinking about some of the more informational architecture of how these things are built, which is why I think UX design has kind of come up as a field where people kind of have the understanding of both sides.
Yes.
Yeah. I will also say we have some amazing engineers and PMs on the XD team who understand the product really, really well. And they spend a lot of time in the product. Actually,
one of the things that's actually speaking about engaging with our customers, so first and foremost, we look at your user voice, the top features that you've pasted there, so that you have upvoted to understand what are your top priorities, what are the biggest pain points that you want us to tackle first. And the second thing is just reach out to Adobe XD and all of the PMs we have. You could reach out to us on Twitter. We respond to pretty much to any request that comes every single day. We're happy to guide you on the best practices and what you should be doing.
Yeah, if nothing, we'll let you know if this feature is something that we are working on. And if we're working on it, a lot of the times we'll also ask you like I said earlier, what your use case for it is, so that you can help us design the feature better for you all. I see Ali Ahmed say hello.
Hi, Ali.
From Pakistan.
From Pakistan. Hi, everyone.
It's really late there, too.
Yeah.
Thank you for staying up tonight
guys,
with us.
It's almost past midnight, I think.
all of you, are you all night owls? I think a lot of
Dimitri
designers
from
are.
Ukraine. Hi, Dimitri. All right.
All right, so far I have a screen where you can add stuff. I have another screen where it's kind of like a home screen. So let's start talking about what this, like, just to test this grid that I've made. I want to see if I can make this in, what if it was for a web view. So what I did was, if you guys didn't missed it, I just hit the A key on my keyboard, which opens up all these pre-made artboards available for me to use. So maybe I can pick.
Oh yeah, it's there.
I'm gonna select a web version, and let's see. So I'm gonna take some of the pieces and start seeing where these things might go. So actually, I think why would you go on the web for something like this, or would you do an iPad?
I would do an iPad first.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start again. We're gonna do
The iPad templates are on top. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we'll do.
I love the Pro.
The Pro. I'm not much of an iPad user actually, so I should get one to like play around with some of our new products. All right. So what if we had a section like that? And if you see responsive resize is turned on here, and I can start messing around with how I might want some of these pieces to scale, but it maintains its proportions. I think in an iPad, some things would be a little bit bigger, but then I can also, one of the cool new features we also have is guides now in XD. I didn't really set it up for the mobile ones because I didn't really make too many screens, but this margin feels really small to me. So I'm gonna set it up to be, say, 50, and I'm gonna set one more up on this side as I'm working, just to have some idea of where my design
so
margins
everything
are.
snaps to the guides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can also apply repeat grid again over here, just to have a section where things might just trail off in an iPad. So that's a cool feature over here. So there's a component again that I'd like to work with. Actually, let's bring it all in together. And
Make it also responsively resize it.
oh wait,
I think
we
it wasn't
missed-
grouped. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll group it. And we brought it in over here. So all my responsive resize stuff is here. And this is kind of like out in the wild here. But there you go. Some of the sections. If I had all those plants, I would be a happy lady. But
Are you sure they're gonna survive?
I know. I think this actually, that's like a good validation though, right?
Yeah.
Like the more plants you have, the more you might need this. Especially if you're
absolutely.
really into, like if you take your gardening really seriously and you have some plants indoors and outdoors. So that's kind of nice. So you can adjust as you can see what this different. So I resized this whole thing just to show you guys. I resized this whole thing all together.
So you just drag the handlers.
Yeah, and the cool thing is that I'm resizing actually this entire component. But XD is smartly understanding where I have a repeat grid. Remember, we set up a repeat grid over here, and it's extending that repeat grid for me. And when I go in, I can go in and like make the changes more manually as I would. I think for now, I would just have 2 of these. And maybe this would be something, this is something that might be a fixed element that as we scroll, it'll move around with us. Actually.
Wow. Seong is, it's 1:20 a.m. in India and he has an exam tomorrow. Or today. It's actually today there.
Oh man,
Wow.
good luck for your exam. I
Good
hope
luck,
this
Seong.
this stuff is in your exam. Work hard, but not too hard. get some sleep too. But after you finish watching our show, of course. All right, so that's a little quick idea of like what
That's awesome.
designing for another screen can be. This was me kind of just testing the limits of the grid that I'm creating, and as I create it, I might think of some other ideas that I want to add in here. So one of the things that I'm realizing is that we don't really have a menu screen that we've made. Kind of like a home button or a settings button or like a calendar view. So maybe we can start by doing that. And this is maybe a good chance to talk about some of other icons that you can find. So maybe we can find a home button. Oh,
that's a sad home button.
All right. Home. All right.
Yeah, this looks like a good home button. Yeah, or this one too.
This looks like a greenhouse, which I like.
I like that.
So there it is.
Why don't you would you give it a green color or
Maybe.
or selection, maybe on selection?
Maybe. It could possibly. So I'm gonna go back to my mobile design screen because that's where I've been spending majority of my time designing. So I'm gonna go back and I don't know if you guys have heard of this term. I'm sure you have, Sharif. There's this industry term called mobile first, and I think a lot of apps these days are focusing on the mobile experience before anything else. Why is that? Do you want to tell some of our viewers why people are making mobile experiences first?
I mean, it's for several reasons. One is the proliferation of mobile devices. So everyone today has access to, most people have access to mobile devices versus sitting and spending more and more time with mobile devices than actually sitting on their laptops and spending time with them. So I think research have shown that people spend significant way more time interacting with apps on mobile devices than browsing websites. And for that reason, it's cloud first, mobile first is kind of the new industry trend. It's actually not new anymore. It has been there for quite a while now.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I think I've also gotten in the habit of designing first for mobile.
And it's just like few clicks away from from getting into the experience and actually activating the things that you want to activate.
All right, so I want to get a settings icon, and if I look at settings, okay, there we go.
Riaz is asking you, if you don't mind, can you share your journey from working in India to working in Adobe?
Oh, it's been a long journey. But I really enjoyed. I worked in India for 2 years as a designer, and I really enjoyed. I worked in Mumbai for 2 years, but I had done my undergrad here, and I had decided that I wanted to work for a little while in the Bay Area as a UX designer, where I see a lot of these big companies working, a lot of innovation happening, and there was some really good design thinking for sure happening out there in Mumbai, with specifically a lot of startups for designing specifically for the Indian audience, and that's happening. That's a Bay Area trend too. Once these apps become successful here, you need to change it a little bit for the Asian audiences. So I wanted to actually come back here and see what I could do to kind of like push the edge of innovation. So I decided to come do my master's over here, as many students do, and decided to interview at a couple of places, and Adobe was one of the. I was fortunate enough to get an offer from Adobe, and here I am. But
and we're fortunate enough to have you guys here with us.
Thank you. But you have had a similar journey as well, too, right?
Yeah.
Coming back to the US.
And same thing. I was working in the Middle East and in Dubai, and from there I decided to, I wanted to have more access to more like the innovation and where it starts, and it seemed that the Bay Area was one of those places. So I came to pursue my master's here, and from there I was also fortunate to join Adobe, and it was a great journey since then.
Yeah. I think one of the nice things about doing your master's over here is because you get a internship period where you can go and work at other companies, and I think that's where you really learn
Absolutely.
a lot about what the culture is, how people set up their work and how people prioritize. I think that's been, and we're still learning. I think I've been at Adobe only for a year, and even in XD there are some things which I'm like, oh, I didn't know we could do that. I didn't realize that was
Yeah,
a
it
thing.
changes a lot every single month.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, so I'm setting up a menu button, but as many of you know, there's like this blue section over here, which is where usually, oh, I had placed this icon here, where my menu button would go, and here it'll probably. So now
you're doing okay.
I'm dividing it up into two
Why?
different buttons.
Those are buttons. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
I'm grouping them. These are not. I think I need a home button and a settings button, but do I need anything else, guys? I don't know. Like, tell me. This is the first time I'm thinking of making this app, so we'll kind of play around a little bit and figure it out. So as I make those two buttons, I can come back here to my iPad version of it and kind of see if it still works.
Yeah.
Seems like to
We're
me it does.
responsibly designed.
Yeah. If you group them and they're turned on.
Yeah.
Oh, it's spreading it out.
It's spreading it out.
All right. So if I wanted more buttons, I could add in more buttons over here.
Or you could go and set manual constraints, and that would help you remove fixed width.
And height is good enough.
Yep.
Oh, it's still doing it.
For both.
Yeah. Oh, I have to do it individually for both. And there we go. And there we go.
Yep.
And that should solve. Yep,
Yep.
there we go. That should solve it. Those are the two buttons that I want to make. Now I want to use these guides that I have over here. And I know, guys, these are like white buttons that I'm designing.
Why don't we give it a little bit of contrast in there, Gayatri?
Yeah. Oh, wait. There we go. And maybe select this. I'm not really going for aesthetics right now. I'm just trying to set up some options that we might use later. And I want to just resize it. So
It's just like ongoing process of iteration and
right. Okay, so now let's replace it over here since we edited it over there. See some more responsive resize magic. There we go. I had those two buttons that I edited over there and I resized them over here. And I hope we made it clear on how we fixed it. So we went into manual, and the reason why, if you see if I do fixed width, it's always going to mean fixed width on the individual element.
yeah,
It is always going to maintain its size.
the defined the previously
it's gonna do
defined
that.
size. Yeah.
So if you wanted to resize, make sure you double click into the actual element, remove fixed width. Same with the other element. Make sure you deep dive into it and do a fixed width. And now it's gonna be resizing as you would expect it to. All right, so we have a home screen. What else do we need? I think we need a detail page for where these things would show up.
So how do you actually navigate from this page to the next page?
What do you mean? Wait.
So this was the starting page, right?
Oh yeah.
And then when you click
you click plus, I haven't quite thought of that
Mm-hmm.
yet. Maybe you're right. Maybe I need to add like a save button or a done button.
Or next, maybe.
Yeah.
And then it will take you.
Maybe like there needs to be a done button at the end of this. Can we reuse some elements? Oh wait, we can. Let me see. I haven't quite thought this through. Maybe I just use one of the buttons and it's gonna sit at the bottom of my screen, and instead of this home, maybe it's gonna have an icon.
Or maybe done.
Just the word done.
Yeah, that would
Does
work.
done have an icon?
Yeah, it's all right. The check
mark.
would work.
The check mark. Ooh, there. You can resize it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it gets activated once you fulfill the requirements.
Oh, I like that. So it's disabled until you fill
Fill
all the
all
mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So maybe once you fill that up, it adds in the first plant that you have, that you might have.
And then when you add other plants, it would take you back. So you could just pin those wires.
It could. Maybe we can play around with it a little bit. And so this where I'm switching into the prototyping mode. You can start prototyping even in your wireframing
So
stage.
how did you switch? So we have two tabs, right, in XD?
There's design and that's
there's
prototype. And what you can do is you see these blue wires. You can select which component or you can even select the entire artboard or object that you wanted to bring it to, and it clicks in and brings it over here. Maybe when you hit the plus sign, it's gonna bring it back. And you can over here adjust a lot of the transitions or something that you would want. Maybe we say it slides up just for, I don't know what it's really going to do. I don't remember exactly, but let's see. And it'll slide down. So once you've wired this up, just to check what the flow is like, you can hit the little play button on the right-hand side. And this is really effective to be able to do in one app, because prototyping is not always something that you will do at the absolute end of your work. It helps you kind of make your design decisions as well, especially as a UX designer, because your screens are never like, it's not like posters or something.
It's like a flow, and it's an experience.
Exactly. Yeah. So as you can see, some of the hotspots where I have made triggers, the little hand symbol shows up, and you do that, and there.
Oh, nice! I like that transition.
And you can scroll through it.
You can have fixed elements
We're
as
gonna
well.
have. I need to make this a fixed element. So why don't we go and do that? Go into the design mode and make it a fixed element.
So what happens when you check something as a fixed element?
So it retains its position on the screen that you have. So this blue line that we have over here essentially shows you the outline or the end line of what the screen is going to be on the phone.
And anything beyond that is going to be a scrollable area.
Exactly. So I'm not sure. I haven't used fixed position in a while, so bear with me, guys. I hope I did it right.
I think you did it right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So
and what it does, it even renders the background beneath
exactly.
it. So if you change the opacity, you can still...
Yeah, you could do some really cool stuff. But right now, I'm just kind of setting up the mental model of what pieces I need, because I'm gonna have to go find images and information that I need to put in here.
I like what Nicolas is saying. Do you think a cancel button would also help? Perhaps you want to reject changes you've made to plant information?
Oh yeah, good point. So do you think it should be like right next to this? Like over here somewhere?
Yeah, maybe it's like you decided, it's like, hey, I want to discard everything.
Right.
Or maybe just reset.
Right. Okay, so I'm gonna restart a little bit, because that's a good point. Thank you. And this is actually what happens even in our crits, guys.
What is a crit?
Oh, a design crit. This is what happens, like as a designer, you're kind of making an experience and you're so absorbed in making those next screens that sometimes your PM or engineering comes and be like, where's the cancel button? And you're like, oh, that's right. Where's the cancel button? So, I mean, this is all to say that feedback is a crucial part of design. And as a designer, you can never kind of be too possessive about the workflow that you've created. And sometimes you just can't help it. And sometimes I think it's important to be possessive about your workflow, but the more feedback that you have from people, the better the experience is going to be.
Yes, absolutely.
So please give us thoughts, suggestions. So maybe we need a cancel button. So whoever made this IconDrop plugin, shout out to you guys. I'm using
Shout out to all the plugins, guys. Honestly, just makes your life way more productive and
yeah. All right, so there. That was an easy fix. Thank you.
And probably we're gonna change the colors after you go to higher fidelity, right?
Eventually, yes, for sure. So those are some of the screens that we have. So we had left off on something that we were going to design. We were going to design a detailed page.
Yes.
For this, that would be. So we didn't show you what the prototype of this would look like. Oh, I have to rewire it. Remember, guys, sometimes when you change your designs, remember to resize them as well. All right. So there we go. If I say yes, it's gonna bring me into all these assets. These are fixed elements at the bottom. And if I decide that I want to add another plant, it's gonna
take it
show up
back
there.
to the plant detail.
Right.
Okay.
All right, one more screen. Should we start with duplicate? Let's see what happens.
I will start with duplicate.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna move this aside for now, because I think
then we're gonna
bring it back.
Do responsive things later.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. It's gonna be a more detailed page of something like this. So maybe I don't think we need this. I don't think we even need this. I think we'll keep this for sure. I would reuse this element, because that's going to be the image of the plant. If you hold Shift Command bracket left side, it will bring your
to the back.
Yeah. So I can show you. By the way, we've not talked about the layers panel. The layers is essentially, if you've used Photoshop or Illustrator 2, they're the
like the Z order of layers and where they stack.
Yeah, think of them as a building of, like, if you want to change what you can see from the topographic view first, that's essentially what the layers panel is. So here's a quick shortcut. Shift Command left bracket will bring it all the way to the back, as you saw in the layers panel. And
the same thing you could do with right click on the from the context menu and send to back or send to front.
Bring to forward, send to back. Exactly. This is the shortcut that I was mentioning over here. Riaz says, I have completed 3 challenges in Photoshop, only 1 in XD.
Riaz,
come on.
Let's catch up on XD.
Today might be the day for your second.
Yeah, let us know how can we help you to catch up.
Yeah, if you have specific, like if you're working on something and if you have questions, we're happy to ask live over here. Use caps locks if we're too distracted and not listening to you. We will try to answer a question as you start working.
Okay. Hannah, what are the new XD features that you like? Tell us more about them.
Sharif, why did you tell us?
I want to wait to hear from them.
We'll catch up. All right, plant name. So one of the things is, of course, I want to start off with the plant name. I think since it's the feature page, maybe the image can be a little bit bigger. There can be a plant name, and some of these sections could be repeated over here.
So what's the purpose behind this screen?
I think the purpose for me in this screen is, and like sometimes when you have this index card of all the plants that I have, if I click into it, it tells me what my plant is, when is the last
Are there
time.
Like reminders there, notifications of like when was the last time you watered it?
Exactly. I was just gonna begin, but yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, maybe that's what I get to see, like last watered. So it will tell me when is the last time I watered it.
Wouldn't it be awesome if there's like a sensor inside the plant that could measure the amount of water and then automatically send it to the app without you have to manually enter it?
Yeah, that would be nice.
That'd be cool.
Or like, actually, you know what? I think in need watering today, maybe there should be, as you were talking about that, I was thinking, maybe we need something that lets you know if you're like overdue. like a notification kind of thing, which is like, hey, this needs watering today because you didn't water it yesterday.
Yeah, it actually you might be like have like a small pip or a
overdue.
badge on it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is check on.
Yeah. So
This one
maybe
is
it's like
overdue.
something like a badge which says
I like that.
overdue, like, I don't know, overdue or something. Ooh, that's too big.
Then we could start user test that tomorrow. And see. That's what we do.
We can. Okay. Maybe, is overdue the right word? Cool, it will do for now.
Yeah.
Would it be valuable to know by how many days it's overdue?
That's a good question. I mean, it prompts you to take action anyways.
Yeah.
If you saw 2 plants that are overdue, would you take, if you knew
Yeah,
by,
like if you
would you
knew
take
by how-
action? I mean,
yeah.
it doesn't, if
Overdue
they all
by-
live in the same space, I think it's fine.
But yeah, like maybe it's worth knowing overdue by like 2 days or something like that. Because if it's overdue by like 20 days, your plant is gonna be
It's
like,
that.
Yeah.
Plant
Maybe
birthday. Oh my god, I love that. We should celebrate plants' birthdays.
I already can't remember the birthdays of the humans.
We should do that.
Okay. Overdue. Okay, I don't think we need it to be this. It can be smaller. 2 days overdue. Maybe it's gonna be like a badge that sits
I like that, yeah.
somewhere right here. Oh, by the way, you can use all these center align things. Oh, guys, one of the cool new features that I really like is these new additions to having like caps lock or title case,
or lowercase. Yeah.
So I really enjoy a good title case.
And you
caps
could
lock.
always add it to character styles.
Yeah. And there you go.
Yep.
Add it to character styles. And so that
Do you want to show them also the grid view of the character style? I wonder if users actually use the grid view.
yeah, do you guys use the
Do you
grid
guys
view?
use the assets panel today? Like in the list view or grid view, do you add colors, character styles to it?
There we go. So it's there and it gives you a preview in the grid view. You see what the type, font, and size is. It's definitely a bit more helpful so that you can see the name of see the designs, but also the list view, you can see the actual name that you've given to it so that you can match it. So it depends on what kind of person you are. Do you feel like it's more visual and therefore you can recognize the thing that you want to work with, or do you want to know the name of the thing that you're about to apply? Today is Baby Aloe's 2nd birthday. Congrats on 2 healthy years of care. Oh, that's such a cool notification. Maybe that's another thing. That's the next thing we should design. We should design what the notification badges might be like. I would definitely.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so let me quickly finish this and then we'll get to that. Last watered.
Yes.
Maybe
Riaz
like
was saying figuring out new tricks on auto animate. He loves it. Yeah. You just have to follow Howard Pinsky's tutorials, auto animate. It's pretty slick.
Also, guys, like I'm showing you all this. Like now, honestly, most of the times when I'm making some more complex flows, I Google some of the stuff or go on YouTube and look for how to make some cooler animations, and Howard's videos and some of the other contributors' videos are really nice.
Yeah, shout out for Howard's and like letsxd.com. I think it's a great resource for checking all the new stuff that Howard posts.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna find here is the latest things that we had introduced in May. And there's a lot of new things that May was a very big release for us. We introduced design systems, so you could have all your colors, the reusable assets, whether it's colors, character styles, or components, defined in one source cloud document, and you could reuse it across all your other cloud documents to ensure consistency and in order for you not to recreate those assets every single time. We introduced components, which was a new, which is the supercharged symbols, we call them that way. It gives you very flexibility it's a very flexible model when it comes to overriding different properties, and Gayatri was gonna probably highlight on some of those, plus the link assets. And besides that, we have so many awesome features when it comes to prototype, the keyboard triggers, gamepad triggers. We've seen a lot of very fun demos around users or designers actually prototyping games today with XD, with using the PS4, Xbox gamepads. And we have artboard guides, which Gayatri has actually shown us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just adding some more like detailed touches to this screen that we might have. The location in your house, I'll say in kitchen area. All right, so maybe those are some things that are in here. I don't want to, I'm designing, so I don't want to really see this right now. What you can go in and do is...
You can hide it.
Yeah, and before I hide it, I want to know what it is so that I remember that I hid this. So it could be called bottom nav. And once I name it, I can hide it.
You know, one tip I like doing is actually writing hide next to it if I'm going to hide something, so that I could search for hide and it shows me all layers that I've hidden.
That's an interesting thing.
And then just instead of trying to remember.
Pro tip.
Yeah, that's
right
kind
there.
of a pro tip. Yeah.
Okay, hide. Okay, so yeah, if I like search hide, it's gonna show me all the things that I've hidden. That's a pretty good trick. I did not know that. I learned something today. That's cool. All right, so those are some things, those are like the first few things that I'd like to know. But then also, I think I'd like to know some general information about the, like, where this plant is from, or like general care instructions or something like that. Yeah, like a plant bio kind of thing. If I am thinking about adding that plant somewhere else in my house before I make that decision, I can kind of go into this plant bio and find out more. So one of the other plugins that I really like working with is this Lorem Ipsum plugin, which I use quite a lot in my work. So depending on how big your text area is, it will fill it with
like it's a placeholder, Lorem Ipsum.
Yeah, there you go.
That is really cool.
Before this, I used to go into the Lorem Ipsum website, copy, paste, all those things. This is just like this is one of the nice things about Adobe, where we just kind of meet you where you're at. I see, this is where defining some of your character styles becomes really useful. I kind of had veered off path and started using this thin version of, like an ultra light version of Helvetica. Yeah. But I think I want to go back and use body text. Let me see if I can apply it. Oh, is it grouped? Maybe that's why it's not applying it. Okay, ungroup. Okay. And there you go. There. I think what I do want to do though is make these more of titles. So maybe I will make them be bold. Or maybe not. We'll let it be for now.
So everyone who's tuned in, our design, please make sure to submit your design XD design challenge. We're gonna review the submissions in 9 minutes. So again, to learn more about what the challenge is, you could check the challenge tab on Behance. Its research shows that users add items to their cart but do not complete the purchase process because there are too many steps and the cart is hard to edit. Please simplify the process. Gayatri and I can't wait to actually start reviewing your submissions.
So how much more time do they have to
They
finish?
have 8 more minutes or 9 more minutes.
Okay, there you go.
This is a very interesting problem that I always like find some websites to like e-commerce website who they do a great job in. Like it's a very simplified, streamlined process from adding things to cart to actually buying or purchasing. And there
Right.
are others that just add so many unnecessary steps, and it just
Wow. Okay.
it will make you churn. Like I don't want to keep going on that process.
Right. One of the cool things in the last 8 minutes that we have, I want to show you is that, remember we created this section over here called component over here. So I'm going to call it plant.
Bye,
Name.
Riaz. Hope that you tune in tomorrow with us. Good luck.
All right. I'm going to see if this is actually going to work. Plant name.
What are you trying to do?
I think we might we can try to, so if you name, if this is a component, and if you go into the layer name and name it, say plant name, and save it, and if one of the cool things is if you set up a Google Sheet which has some of these assets pre-made for you, like I do over here. I had put in some plant names over here and named it, and you can align it with the asset that you have. But I'm doing this a little bit on the fly over here, and I think I pasted it right. And you have plant name, apply.
Could you try ungrouping the component for a second?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I believe it is ungrouped.
No, it looks like it has a green border.
That's repeat grid.
Okay.
Let's try one more time. But we can try this.
Yeah,
This happens all the time,
We'll
guys.
showcase that tomorrow in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope I made it a public. It might just be that my plant Excel. There we go.
Yeah, so you're using that to like data population, right?
Right.
Like you could actually populate data, like text, bitmaps, images.
Correct.
Okay,
That's
so instead
exactly
of
what I'm
just
trying-
inserting them one by one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So maybe it is happening and my naming is not right. Done. So plant name, save. It should show up now, any moment now. But maybe we will troubleshoot this tomorrow.
let's do that tomorrow.
All right, okay, maybe we can quickly also, once we do have the plant bio, maybe one of the things that you want to find out about this is also how much sun it needs. Maybe that, and how much water it needs, so copy to clipboard. So maybe there are like, to quickly access information, you can have some icons to tell you what they are.
Yeah. Would you fill that icon like with the water?
Yeah, that's
like,
exactly what I was planning to do.
That's nice.
So let's see. I haven't, so XD has, so for some of these detailed illustrations, you can definitely do it on Illustrator, but XD has some quick, we give you the ability to be able to make some of these quick edits if you wanted to. So I'm gonna quickly show you. The clock is ticking, so I'm gonna quickly jump in and show you how.
You have 4 minutes to do that. No pressure.
We're gonna go ahead and do this. I don't want the fill border.
Do it blue.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. There, we'll use this blue.
I like that.
There. And so if it needs like medium water, maybe that's the size. And maybe if it needs full water, I think that would be easier.
Just fill the entire thing. Yeah. Probably.
I can easily just, so it's kind of neat. XD gets you most of the way there.
Yeah.
How however you might want to work with. And the thing that I'm doing over here is I'm selecting the eyedropper tool. What other things you can do is just hit the I key on your keyboard and use the blue over there. So,
and one of the exciting things, like when I look at those, they seem to me like they're states of the same thing, right?
yeah.
And one of the very exciting things that we're working on now is component states, so that you could toggle between all those different states from an artboard.
Yeah.
Instead of recreating them every single
time. So of course we've not defined our color scheme yet, and maybe that's something that we can cover tomorrow, but I just wanted to quickly show you that you can even make those edits to these icons. So this is a pretty quick way to just get started on some of the work that you might be doing. Oops, there you go. I don't want the border.
Some minor edits there. Yep.
There you go.
You're good.
And then, ooh. Don't try to race against the clock, guys. Patience. Okay, there you go. So we have like 3, maybe it's going to be a combination of it needs partials, some water, and full sun. And that's kind of a decision we also sometimes make, right? When we're making features, we're trying to think of when do we want to use an icon versus the actual name of the feature.
Yeah.
And sometimes some of the universal ones, we can always kind of get away with icons. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to reuse some of these. So I'm going to add them in as components. And I maybe might reuse the color, so I've added that in as well. There you go. And even for, there you go.
And you could add it as a color as well.
Yep, we can add this over here as a color as well. So there you go. As we're working, we're establishing kind of a partial design system. And the nice thing about even adding them in the beginning of your design process is that if later on I decide to edit the color, you can see all these features
automatically propagates to
automatically, exactly, propagates to the rest of the app as well. All right, so we have 1 more minute left.
So everyone, start wrapping up your design challenges so that Gayatri and I could start reviewing your submissions.
We're excited.
We're super excited.
All right. So that's one of the things. What else can we cover? Maybe we should decide what kind of colors and start working on the design system that maybe we'd want to use. I am going to create another kind of like a...
Where are you planning to get the images from? I'm curious.
I was thinking
Adobe Stock.
And maybe that's somewhere we can kind of go start looking. So I was looking a little bit earlier. So you go into indoor plant and you search for it. I think I have too many tabs open. All right. So if I want to use this, I can easily go in and if I double click on this, so I've already licensed this image. Maybe if I start with another image over here, so I have I can save this to any of CC libraries,
or you could download it.
So since I want to add it to that library, I'm going to license it. It's saved to my library. And so here's the magic. Once I'm here and I want to say add that image to this screen, if you go into File, go into Open CC Libraries, you see that image is loading in that we just selected. And these are some of the other images that I've used from Adobe Stock. So
you could grab them.
I would grab it and drag and drop it in here.
And it will automatically fill?
Exactly.
Could you reposition things? Or?
Yeah, so the mask is pretty smart. You can...
And I think that mask would work with the responsive resize as well.
Exactly.
We're going to showcase that tomorrow?
Yeah, of course. I can even give you a quick preview of what that might be like. if we were doing this screen.
Yeah. I think
we're time's up. So you guys have to just come back tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna have to resume the responsive resize and screen, like designing for any screen tomorrow. Gayatri, thank you so much. Yeah,
the suspense.
Yeah, it was amazing work, like doing all of that in that live edit stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So let's start reviewing what we have here. And let me just make it this full screen. Let's review the submissions. So
wow,
where
this
do
looks
we
very
start?
slick work, guys.
Okay.
Food me. Is there sound on this as well? No.
Plant in mind. I don't know. Is there? Full screen. Let's review the submissions.
Okay, let's start first.
Wow, this looks very.
That
is me.
I'm like, it sounds a lot like you, Sharif. Did you design something on the side?
Oh my god, I love that with overlays and auto animate.
Okay, can we see that one more time?
Yeah, let's review it. So
that's like the splash screen.
Log into the apps,
log in.
You can see advertisements or things that
good. You've thought about like the business side
the promotions.
Of things. Today's recommendations.
Of the menu, and pizza, then you go to the category.
Okay, now I'm hungry. Today's recommendation.
Yeah, then you probably add to basket, and I assume this number, this badge would increment once you add it to basket. Could you add multiple? My question is like, what do you think about? Do you add one? How do you, with one button, decide to add how big the order is?
Oh.
Would you like? Would you prefer to have like plus minus like how many items?
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes these days when a lot of these items where you can long press and add a plus or two, that's a micro introduction that you can build on. You can definitely do that with overlays in XD.
What about the heart side over here? Do you think
it's like save for later?
Is it safe for later, or
is it a favorite of yours, or like how much you liked it?
I think here what I'm seeing is the rating, kind of the community rating. So I assume if I rated this, it would be like 5 hearts. Yeah. But this one is more for save for later, right?
Yeah, I think that's more like I wanted. That's like that's one of my favorites right there. Yeah. In the bottom. I really like the font that you've used. What is it? And who is this by?
Yeah, let's check who did this one. So that's Rolex. He's still working on today's work. That's awesome work, Rolex. Yeah.
So let's give you some good feedback. I think you have the menu items and stuff really clear. I think you don't need that browse by title because it's pretty obvious when you give me 3 buttons that I'm going to press on it. And I think today's recommendation makes sense. I would reduce the, there's a lot of information at the bottom section. I think that's what do you think you need the delivery restaurant or food? Or could it be part of the button itself instead of a separate line? It's worth their exploration. Yeah, if the button is kind of like, at least the word inside the button, so it's contained within the reason is like I'm looking down here is like, are we establishing like a trend? Like if you have the account and the icon, maybe we could have the same word. Yeah, here. You're establishing a style or like a pattern, a UI pattern that might be useful. Yeah. I think one of the other things that you were trying to get at earlier, Sharif, was that at the bottom of the screen over there where it says the details and the heart sign, there's a lot going on over there. And I think some of the information that you have on the right-hand side, which is like the delivery time, the cost, the delivery cost, and add to basket are all relevant information. But some of this write-up on the left-hand side is a bit too much, so maybe if it was a lighter font or more bulleted, or maybe like some of it is like kind of in that see more section. Yes. That might be good. I think that chili signs are really good. Those are cute. Yeah, those are important. Yeah. I think for a lot of people. Or maybe that's a modification that you make once you in one of those micro interactions. But really great like animation. Great work, Rolex. All right, moving on. Jerry, let's check. I think he's giving feedback over there for Rolex's work.
Is this Rolex work? I think that's a different. Looks like a different pattern.
Oh,
over
it's
here.
a sneak. Is
Yeah.
it a sneak?
It looks like a sneak. I like that. So you have home. Is that a delivery?
So did you use any icon libraries for that? Let us know.
Yeah.
So how?
Right.
Okay, those are the single
Those are the same
screenshots.
screens. Oh, and
This
he
is the
already has a
Behance.
Behance for it. That's awesome. All right, let's see. Rashid, so far this one. Yeah. Let's see what he has.
Ooh.
Oh, fancy auto animate. And then you enter your description, choose your delivery. So that's the area. Depending on the area, you get the options. I like that.
Okay. Nice work in
I
progress.
like the process where he started like, yeah, don't just show me everything. Like show me
Yeah.
things that I could actually order from.
Yeah.
Like things that are in my surroundings. And then it just filtered down to the different categories. I'm actually curious to see, Rashid, when like what is the checkout process gonna look like? How are you gonna add the coffee, the food into your basket and checkout? That'll be really awesome. For here, what do you think, Gayatri? What feedback do you have on this screen?
I'm a little concerned that I think your bottom navigation has the right thumb like finger space to click on.
Sorry.
But as we were seeing in the previous, like see even over here you have like enough room for me to click on.
Yeah.
But as we come into that other screen, like over here too, I can select.
Mm-hmm.
But over here, the top white button
Got
navigation
it.
breakfast might be too small to read and to select. So maybe that's something you'll want to work on. Also, you have the hamburger menu, kind of like that side menu on the right hand side. I'm like reaching out over here, but because
Yeah.
it's in front of me on a screen, but it's probably just on your screen. On the right hand side, there are these three dots. I'm concerned that it's not. If you open that, does it open all over the screen or does it take over the entire, like, oh, it's an overlay on the entire
What do
screen?
you expect to happen when you
Yeah.
click on those two
Over
dots?
here right now, its placement seems like it's going to open halfway over this thing.
Like an overlay or?
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. So I'd be interested in deep diving into that a little bit. And what does it mean right next to quick order? I'd love to see
And I
like the
think-
Rolodeck of
Yeah. And I feel
options.
the line spacing between coffee and double espresso should
Yeah,
just
I mean, although I
have
think
more
this
line
is
spacing.
probably work in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely fix that. Right now, I don't know which restaurant I'm ordering from.
That's a good one. And I think it's
I-
like, yeah, it's not clear for me. Are those categories? Are those just
Yeah.
different store or like restaurants
Yeah.
that we're ordering from?
I'm assuming that's the area, that airport residential area that you have on the first
Yeah.
screen over there. Yeah, on top, that's the area, right? Or is that
That's
the
the
restaurant?
neighborhood probably.
Yeah.
So I would
Yeah.
have assumed that we could see the restaurants. at
Yeah,
this
I
point,
mean, I
yeah.
guess my other suggestion is that I think once I've made the decision on the area, I know what my area is. You don't need to keep telling me. Like, I mean, that you can deprioritize that information and make it a little smaller.
So it's like, yeah, something that is subtle up there because
Right.
probably it's like your location that you're in right now. or
Yeah,
something
but
like
awesome animations,
that.
really.
Love it. Yeah, very slick
Yeah,
auto animate in
very
there.
well. I feel like you have some of the pieces there, and you have just enough done today
But-
that you can come back.
Gayatri, you need to up your auto animate game tomorrow.
I know, right? Challenge accepted.
All right, let's see this.
Hey guys, we
one.
haven't figured out the name for our plant app yet, so come with some names tomorrow too.
There were a bunch of names.
Plant
missed
Nanny
them.
was one that I really liked.
Yeah, I think if we scrolled up in.
Swifty
wait,
Sweets.
So if we open this one, would it?
Current order. What is this? XL fries?
Let's
XL
see.
cake?
Let's
Right.
open.
Okay.
Is it loading?
It's doing something.
Oh, why do we have the? Sorry. Let's start over. Okay. Huh. that.
Scrumptious.
It looks delicious.
Today's deals.
So much carbs, and now I'm really hungry. Okay, let's look at it
Let's
again.
see it one more time.
Okay, so you choose. Let's pause. So you choose whatever you want from the item. The
So
cheesecake.
yeah, this is assuming
Then-
you've decided which cake you want.
Exactly.
Which
And
is
then-
nice. I appreciate that you took on the challenge of showing the more complicated bit of this.
Exactly. So it's like you already filtered down to the restaurant and the type of item you
Yeah.
want, and from there you could see, okay, this is the item. I don't know if you want to see description. Do you want to see description, or you're fine?
I think I would love to see ingredients at the very
Yeah.
least. Just because like some people are allergic to nuts and like the crust may
Exactly.
be made of nuts. Or
Yeah.
something
So
like
for
that.
allergies and stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't think I need to see the price right now. I think the price is like, I think you already have it. There's current item cost, and I imagine the price changes as with the selection that you make.
Exactly, because this is like standard size that feeds 7.
Exactly.
I like the fact that you said like it feeds 7.
That's
because
I think
I
that's
don't
a
see
good
that
detail.
quite often.
That's a good
Yeah.
detail because people are just like, how big is it? How
Yeah, like
yeah.
standard. Like what is standard?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have large and X large.
Yeah, you're
and-
definitely
and when you choose it,
providing
automatically
useful information.
Yeah, and when you select it, it just adds the $5 on top of the
Yeah, I
20 to
think
give
you have the screen pretty much there. I would just remove that $20
Hmm.
thing up there because it's not relevant since you're showing it on the bottom.
Great, and then you
Okay,
add some add-ons
candles.
there,
That's thoughtful. Sugar free.
and you add item to cart. Nice.
All right.
I mean, it's a
We
pretty
started-
streamlined process.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I would like to see here is my summary of my order, like in a small
I would
section.
say like order summary, and then because there might be multiple items, right?
yeah.
And the quantity of each
and also
item.
reiterate the address and time
Yeah.
in a corner somewhere, because it seems to me that place order is the last kind of line of defense from my side to
So what do you think
confirm.
like the arc, like the flow should be? Like you
I
start
think
with
the items, and at
Okay.
the bottom, if I really want to check it in the at the very end of my list of items, it should be right now like right below the cost. I would show this is the delivery address, estimated delivery time,
Estimated time delivery.
30 minutes or something like that,
yeah.
and which card also is being used.
Yeah.
Like just those are just like good things to
Yeah.
a user might want to know before they hit place order.
So, did you notice that? So what she, who was it? I can't remember the name. But when they click place order, it took them, continue shopping. It took them back to the menu so that they could
okay.
continue adding stuff.
I would say that this is, first of all, I really like that you use a serif font. It's very hard to find a good serif font that
It
looks
is hard.
that looks good
Yeah,
in
I
app
agree.
UI, and it's looking really
It
nice.
looks great. And I mean, I feel it's also like very desserty, like
Yeah.
treats like
Yeah.
font.
And I think you've done a great job of like using colors and fonts and stuff. I'm always scared of doing that because sometimes it just goes out of hand. But nicely done.
Yeah, no, that's great. Love it. All right.
And we should give a shout out to
Yeah,
whoever
to
made
Jake.
it. Jake.
Thanks,
back home.
Jake. That's
Nice
really
work.
amazing work. Love it. All right. What else do we have? Anything else going on here? All right. I think that is our submissions. Have we missed anything?
Is that one that is?
That's I think the Photoshop one.
Is it?
or no? That's probably us as well.
No, I think this is a photographer portfolio page.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of the previous submissions
previous
from earlier
submissions.
today.
Yeah.
Cool.
So do you want to jump back, show us some of the what?
Yeah, for sure. So as if we missed anything, feel free to link them to us or post them there. We'd be happy to.
Yeah, we're gonna be
show
happy.
them.
Like if you wanna still post some of your designs, we're happy. We're happy to give you feedback, more feedback on
Yeah.
them.
Awesome. So I was actually showing you. Let's take a quick look back. If in XD we have some CC library support, and yes, guys, we're working on making this better for you. But it's pretty.
Richard is asking. Yes, we're gonna definitely. Gayatri and I are actually working.
Yeah, that's one of the things we're working on. But it's still effective today. I mean, if you want to just transport some images that you want to work on, over here, I wonder if I can select and do this. Oh no.
This is a master component.
Yeah.
So it will replicate everywhere.
It for everyone. All right, so.
You could drag one by one.
Yeah.
Do it now.
All right, I can do it like that.
Yeah.
I'm running out of pictures now.
Yeah, you always have Adobe stock.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've not even bought all of these. That's just kind of the nice thing about Adobe stock. If you've just want to see what it's going to look like, and then you can go back into Adobe stock over here. I think you can access your libraries. I have very thoughtfully named my library a random library.
A random library.
And you can go in here and license this, and it'll become available back in XD. So
it will remove the watermark from there?
Exactly.
Got it.
Back in
I have a
XD
quick question. If you added something to the component, would it add to the rest of them? So say, for instance, you had the plant.
Yeah.
And then you want to decide to add something else.
Oh, sure. So make sure you're in the master component.
Yeah.
Once you click in and say you wanted to add something else. So you see it's already doing it. You can make specific, maybe it's plant, and then it also tells you last watered yesterday. Maybe something like that. So you can barely see this. I'm sorry, guys.
You can change the font now.
Yeah.
Because probably you didn't know that the picture is.
Yeah. So I can do that. I can make it a bold and
give it a white color.
White. Slightly better. And then
maybe we could start having an overlay.
Yeah. When you see that, or yeah, or
and
you
that's
can,
why I was saying, like, we could have like a black overlay rectangle with that additional information on top of them.
I'm wondering if I can create some kind of a gradient.
With opacity, for instance, or a gradient.
Right, there we go. I maybe am gonna use the green. I can go into the layers panel and see where exactly it is, and the image link, so it places it right below it. I can reduce the opacity a little bit so I can read it better.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Like that. And now it's replicated. You could do text overrides
and see, like, kind of, because we had set up the master like that, it populated it. But I'll show you a trick on Excel tomorrow, once I fix my link, on how to populate all these assets with
one single click.
Yeah. Through Excel, or even if you set up a document where you've collected these assets and you can add them. So
it seems that you're not the only one who calls libraries random.
Or random, yeah. I was testing things. I was testing things. So if you wanted to add more images and colors over here, you can start setting it up.
Yeah.
You can even take this, and if you wanted as an artboard, I believe you can.
You can actually resize the entire artboard.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how.
Just select responsive resize on the artboard.
Oh, on the art. Oh, yeah. So, guys, I think that's on purpose that we keep responsive resize on your artboard off on purpose, because you might be trying to make some quick sketches. So if you want to resize your artboard, we can kind of help you establish that, like from here. And again, I said if you want to make some modifications, you can deep dive into the
constraints. Yeah,
you can deep dive into the assets, and maybe it does that. There is no fixed width. I would not like any fixed width. Okay. Manual, no fixed width, and no fixed width. Okay, let's see if that fixed it for us. And I have the responsive resize on my artboard. There you go. it resizes. We still have to fix this one.
Manual, yeah. Click manual. Yep.
There we go.
And
So
now all the magic.
Yeah.
And you can see the images.
Exactly. And then I would change it over here as well. Okay, there we go. I think now we're ready.
So we could now go from mobile to iPad directly in one single.
Yeah.
Yep.
And make like some of the adjustments that
Yeah.
we might need over here.
Oh, I
There you
love
go.
it.
Yeah.
Now we have the iPad
Version.
design, version,
right here.
done. Guys.
All right. There's a
So-
lot of plants here. All right. So how much time do we have left?
We have 9 minutes or 8 minutes to go.
Okay, so one of the things that I want to do definitely tomorrow is trying to think of what are the design systems. And some of the design systems that I look at is that I make are on Pinterest, and here is like some of the things that I favorited that I kind of want to work on. Like I really like this
Oh my god, I
kind
love
of
those color schemes.
art. Yeah, this color scheme. So we'd love to see some of your process too in the way that you're making some of your projects that you're submitting. Share with us how you like some inspiration images that you use as well. So that's definitely one of the things that I want to work with, and maybe I will. Can I bring it in over here?
Yeah.
Yep. So, and I'm gonna start extracting some colors from
Oh, exciting.
within here, maybe that I'll use tomorrow.
Yeah. You could use the eye shortcut.
Yeah, that's what I'm actually like setting it up like an actual design system.
All right.
But let's see how far I get. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm at a product, so also in design teams there is someone who is responsible for the design system, and as a product designer I don't spend too much time designing a design system. So this is one of those times where I can kind of have fun and establish these things. So if I do that, if I select the thing,
Yep.
and hit the I button, I can start adding some of these colors into my design system. If I want to create some of these gradients, I can do that too. If you go in over here and go into linear gradient, if you want to select one of the colors, I believe you have to still, okay, wait, I can probably do this and select this. Ooh.
Now you're selecting the artboard.
Okay, got it. Good, there. Select this, and add it in here. And now we're ready to make a gradient.
Seems
Select
like-
the true colors.
Just likes the repeat grid.
Yeah. There we go. We're kind of beginning to establish kind of the gradient. There we go. We have the gradient.
Awesome. All right, so we're gonna talk more about that tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And then setting up your character styles and then all
Exactly.
your defined atomic components.
But yeah, I wanted to quickly show you, this is the way, like if you guys are like still in the process of designing, you can definitely, I think there is a blend colors or like color transition plugin
Yep.
that is in there. If you look at colors and blend colors, yeah, color blender.
Actually, one of the things that I like is, I can't remember the name of the plugin, that it extracts all the colors and character styles you have on a website.
Oh yeah,
I look it up, but
we'll bring it. I think it's yeah, you can kind of select the URL and it brings
exactly.
in.
It brings in all the assets that have been defined, kind of. So instead of you drawing everything from scratch.
Exactly.
It could
Yeah.
kind of like an auditing mechanism to know all the colors that you have consumed.
Exactly.
Awesome. So thanks everyone for tuning with us today. I hope you really enjoyed it as much as Gayatri and I did. Congrats for the winner. And we're going to be tuning in tomorrow to continue with our design for any screen with Gayatri. And please let us know if you want us to focus on anything specifically in that process. We're going to be happy to tackle all your questions and feedback. Don't be late. We're going to have another creative challenge tomorrow, so stay tuned.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.